Hey guys, okay, so this week we're going to start using dumbbells in all of our Alchemy Anywhere production, primarily because we just don't have the stock of torpedoes, and going forward we know that there will be some customers who they don't want to buy a torpedo. They have dumbbells in their apartment gym or they have dumbbells in their house and they want to be able to use those dumbbells to do Alchemy Anywhere. So we think it's important to represent those people in our class. So you're going to see your coach doing things normally. Coach is going to have the torpedo speaking primarily to torpedo usage. The primary body, our back right body on our Alchemy Anywhere classes will continue to use a torpedo, but we're going to have the back left body using dumbbells most of the time. Okay, so I've got two dumbbells here. And I just want to talk about some of the ways that torpedo movements translate to dumbbells. And I'm not going to be able to cover all of it. You know, some of this you're going to have to just use your logic and judgment on, but there are a couple little things that we want to talk about. So first of all, anytime we've got light dumbbells, if somebody's got a set of 5s and they need a little bit of extra weight, we would encourage them to use 2 dumbbells. So they can do all kinds of movements from a straight leg deadlift to hang to shoulder to push press to thrusters, all kind of thinking about it in terms of double dumbbells. It would be no different than me using 2 torpedoes. So anytime we used to do double torpedo movements, it's the exact same thing. It translates completely over because remember, part of a torpedo is a dumbbell. And so it shouldn't have any issue there. So what you're basically understanding is that if you've got somebody at home who's got dumbbells and they're a little on the light side, they don't need to replicate the single unit option that they're seeing with the torpedo. They can use both their dumbbells to increase weight anytime. And they can translate back and forth. They can transfer back and forth, I should say, from double dumbbells with one movement to a single dumbbell on the other. So that's the first thing you need to know. 2 dumbbells at a time is perfectly acceptable. That being said, there are some movements that call for a single dumbbell. So if somebody has a set of dumbbells and they're a little heavy, we need to talk about what it looks like to do a single torpedo or a single dumbbell exercise in the same way we would with a torpedo. So the first thing is you need to know that you can certainly front rack and you know, you don't have the convenient handles of a torpedo, but if we're doing front squats, if we're doing push press, if we're doing even hang to shoulder, right? So it can be done just holding the outer pieces of the dumbbell. You don't need to worry about doing half your reps on your right and half your reps on the left. You certainly can do that. Here again, I can't cover all the information. You have to use your judgment, speak to the variety of options. But just know that people can certainly do these movements holding the dumbbell on the outside. So again, straight leg deadlift, yeah, right, hang to shoulder. All right, we can do a push press. All right, we can do a front squat. We can do all the same movements. We just don't have the convenience of the outer handles to work with. So that's one of the only things you need to know about the dumbbell. There's one other movement that's pretty important that we need to be tracking, which is the swing. A couple ways we can do a swing. So one way is just by cupping the torpedo like so, just underneath the sort of head, the dumbbell. So used to torpedo. Cupping underneath the head of the dumbbell, and then we can just swing sort of normally like that. So we would load up, fire through all the way up here. Fire through all the way up here. It's the same movement pattern. Nothing changes. We're just holding the dumbbell by the head. The other option, if it ever calls for this, is we can interlace our fingers like so on the center handle. You can either just do like that, or sometimes people overlap the pinky or even overlap the 2. And we can do the swing just that way. So we hammer style, straight back through, all the way up overhead. And that's a perfectly acceptable way of doing swings with a dumbbell as well. So the long and short here is that number 1, if the dumbbells are light that the consumer has at home, they can always use double dumbbells. Everything done the way we would normally do a double torpedo movement with dumbbells. If they have something that's too heavy, they don't necessarily need to just use the dumbbell by the center handle. They can very easily join our rep scheme. They don't need to switch sides simply by holding the outer heads of the dumbbell and replicating the movement pattern. And then with something like a swing, which is a little bit unique, we can go ahead and shift to the center handle with 2 hands and swing that way. And then of course there's a ton of variety in between. There's a ton of different options in between, which you guys have to play with as Alchemy Anywhere coaches and speak to as Alchemy Anywhere coaches, a bunch of different options. And you can certainly post videos or questions if you have any for me. Could we do this? Can I try that? And we can play with it. But that's a general starting point for the way you can talk about dumbbells being used in place of torpedoes.